Right now, most coding agents still need constant babysitting. You have to tell them what to do step by step, prompt by prompt, one task at a time. That's how AI coding works today. Google is quietly building something that could change that. Instead of micromanaging your AI, you give it the goal and it works out the path. And if this works the way it looks like it will, it's a major shift. Today we're talking about Google Jitro, what it is, why it matters, and what you should know before it launches publicly. But first, I need to catch you up on what else dropped this week, because Jitro doesn't exist on its own. OpenAI, Anthropic, and Z.ai all made major moves too, and all of them seem to be pointing in the same direction. Let's get into it. Let's start with OpenAI, because they've been doing something a little sneaky. OpenAI has been quietly testing a next-generation image model called Image V2. It showed up on LM Arena under codenames like Masking Tape Alpha and Gaffer Tape Alpha. That's the kind of thing companies do when they want to test something serious without drawing too much attention. And according to people who tested it, this one looks like a real step forward. Image generation has always had one obvious weakness: text. You ask for a sign, a button, or a UI screen with words on it, and the output usually comes back garbled or unusable. Image V2 is reportedly improving that in a big way. Cleaner text, better prompt accuracy, and stronger UI rendering. It was pulled from the leaderboard over the weekend, but some ChatGPT users are still seeing traces of it. And usually when that happens, it means a public release is getting close. Now let's talk about Anthropic, because this was probably the most shocking release of the week. Anthropic released something called Claude Mythos Preview, and they are not making it public. That alone tells you a lot. According to Anthropic, Mythos is so strong at identifying security vulnerabilities that they don't think it's safe to release widely yet. Over the last few weeks, it reportedly found thousands of zero-day vulnerabilities across major operating systems and major web browsers. Some of those bugs had apparently gone undetected for decades. One vulnerability it found in OpenBSD was said to be 27 years old. So instead of launching it publicly, Anthropic created Project Glasswing, a defensive security partnership involving companies like Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, and CrowdStrike. The goal is simple: use Mythos to find and fix serious vulnerabilities before attackers do. Then there's Z.ai, formerly known as GPU-AI. They just released GLM 5.1, an open source model built specifically for long, complex engineering work. And this one stands out for a reason. A lot of coding agents can manage maybe 20 steps before they start drifting, losing context, or falling apart. GLM 5.1 is reportedly capable of handling up to 1,700 steps. It can also work autonomously on a single task for up to 8 hours. In one demo, it built an entire Linux-style desktop environment from scratch in 8 hours, file browser, terminal, text editor, games, everything, with no human prompting during the run. It also topped SWE Bench Pro, one of the toughest coding benchmarks, beating GPT 5.4, Claude Opus 4.6, and Gemini 3.1 Pro, and it's fully open source under the MIT license. Now step back and look at the pattern here. All three of these releases point to the same bigger shift. We're moving away from AI that simply responds to prompts and toward AI that works toward outcomes. And that brings us to Google. Now, before we talk about Jitro, you need to understand Jules, because Jitro looks like the next version of it. Jules is Google's current AI coding agent. It connects to your repositories and can work on things like bug fixes, code changes, and test writing. But the big thing that made Jules feel different from tools like Cursor is that it works asynchronously. You hand it a task, it goes off and works in the background. And when it's done, it comes back and shows you what it changed and why. You don't have to sit there watching every move. Jules is already available through Google AI Pro and Ultra on both free and paid tiers. It's already a solid tool, but Jitro looks like a much bigger shift. Jitro is the internal name Google appears to be using for Jules V2. And based on what's been found in the code and in the surrounding messaging, this doesn't look like a small upgrade. It looks more like a complete rethink of how developers work with AI agents. Here's the key shift. With Jules today, and honestly with most coding agents on the market, you still tell the AI exactly what to do. Write this function, fix this bug, update this dependency, refactor this component. You're still the one deciding the steps. Jitro flips that model. Instead of telling the agent what to do, you tell it what you want to achieve. Lower error rates, better test coverage, improved accessibility compliance, cleaner architecture, and then Jitro works out what needs to change across the code base to move toward that goal. That's a very different mental model. You stop acting like a task manager and start acting more like someone setting objectives. And that matters, because once AI starts operating at the level of goals instead of instructions, it becomes less like a tool you constantly steer and more like a collaborator you direct. Now, I do want to be clear here. Jitro has not officially launched yet. A lot of this is based on evidence found in code, leaks, and the messaging around the project. Google is expected to announce it at Google I/O 2026, which kicks off on May 19th. So what we're looking at here is well-sourced, but still pre-launch. So what do we actually know about how Jitro is expected to work? First, it appears to have a dedicated workspace. That matters because it suggests this won't be a one-shot assistant. It looks more like a persistent collaborator with memory of your project, your goals, and the direction you're trying to move in over time. Inside that workspace, you create high-level goals. Jitro then breaks those goals into actionable tasks, works through them, and reports back as it makes progress. It also also appears to connect to existing tools through MCP, remote servers, and API integrations, which means Google is likely building this to work with the wider dev stack, not just inside a sealed box. And importantly, it does not look like a blind fire and forget system. You set the goal, you review the approach, you approve the direction, you stay in control. Google already moved Jules in a transparency-first direction by showing its reasoning before making changes. Jitro seems to extend that same idea to the goal level. So you're not just seeing what it changed, you're seeing what it's trying to do before it does it. That's going to matter a lot, because the biggest challenge here probably won't be capability, it'll be trust. Do you trust an AI agent to pursue a goal across your code base without doing something weird, wasteful, or unintended? That's the real question. And Google seems to understand that, which is why transparency could end up being one of the most important parts of the whole product. So when Jitro launches, what should you actually be watching for? First, the waitlist. Google is expected to roll this out through a waitlist model rather than a wide public release. So if early access matters to you, sign up the moment that opens. Second, watch how much visibility Google gives users into planning and reasoning. That will tell you a lot about how usable and safe this system really is. And third, watch Google I/O on May 19th. That's almost certainly where Google officially unveils Jitro, shows demos, and gives us the full picture. Before we wrap up, here are a few things you can do now to get ready. If you haven't tried Jules yet, use the free tier. Get familiar with how async coding agents already work before Jitro arrives. Second, start thinking in goals, not just tasks. That seems to be the mental shift this whole new generation is built around. Instead of asking, what do I want the AI to do? Start asking, what do I want the system to improve? Fewer bugs, higher test coverage, better accessibility, cleaner architecture, more reliability. That's the language these next-gen agents seem to be built for. And finally, start measuring your code base properly. Error rates, test coverage, accessibility scores, maintainability, those are the kinds of targets a goal-driven agent can actually work toward. So that's the full picture on Google Jitro. AI just changed everything for your business. Optimator.ai builds custom AI agents that automate your customer support, qualify leads 24/7, and run your workflows. Plus, our powerful AI Business Accelerator teaches you step-by-step how to fully automate your current business or launch your own profitable AI business from scratch. Save 20+ hours a week and get real results in under 30 days. Visit Optimator.ai now and book your free strategy call before your competitors do. From what Jules is today to what Jitro appears to be becoming to everything else that happened in AI this week, we're watching a broader shift happen in real time. AI is moving from following instructions to pursuing objectives. And the fact that Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, and Z.ai are all moving in that direction at the same time does not look like a coincidence. If this video helped, hit like and subscribe. More updates are coming because this space is moving fast. See you in the next one.